Good morning, everybody. Okay, we are live. We are streaming live on YouTube here this morning. I've got the E-mini charts up here. Okay, so in the stream, I will be looking at options opportunities. I'll be looking at futures opportunities. Be doing some live trading with that. All right. So overnight, the markets were a little bit mixed. We're actually above the close from yesterday. Not much though in terms of on the ES itself. It closed last night. It was at yesterday. It closed somewhere around, it was at 2782. And this morning, here we are. It is up around 2786. And trying to make a decision. So overnight it went above the close, then it came below it. Now it's in the last hour or hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, it surged up past yesterday's close. Trying to decide if it's going to take a peek at moving above. All right. This is Tuesday. What are we? Tuesday, June 12th. Right, I use a combination of things in trading here. I'll go over those and what they are. Market will be opening here in about 15 minutes. Okay, we have a checklist of things that we go over every day. We review that checklist like flying a plane. All right, getting a few things organized here on the desktop this morning. Temperatures are rising. Summertime. Okay, so I'm going to be trading the ES here live when the market's open. I have some positions open on the options as well. So let me take a look at that before the market opens here. Okay, so these are the options. If you look over here on the left hand side, oh, let me scoot that over, see if I can convince it. There we go. Okay, so over here on the left-hand side, you see I have a range of watch lists here. Let me clean that up. Might be a little easier to see. I have a position open on the SPY. I'm long on the SPY, and I've been in that position for maybe 5 days, 6 days. Ever since it broke out above this range right here, if you can see this range right there, broke out above that. Took a position long. Moving the stops up this morning when the market opens. Didn't like the look of that one candle there. And also I develop tools on Thinkorswim platform. I actually develop on multiple platforms. So in this case right here, I've got a couple different indicators that I developed. One I call Seeker, the other is all about angle and probability. It's combination of probability and momentum is basically what it's addressing. And it looks at multiple markets. Anyway, so on the SPY here, I got some signals. A few days ago, I went long on it. And yesterday, I see some of the pressure coming off there in terms of the upwards momentum. So just tightening up those stops. So when the market opens, I anticipate to close on that. All right, I also watch other markets as well. I'll trade the ETFs quite a bit. So I was in IWM, closed a position. If you look at my site, Financial Investing Secrets, you'll see that I was just in a position on there, closed that. I was also in a position on the Qs, closed a position there. I'll also I'll trade stocks as well, but actually really prefer the ETFs. Okay, in terms of options, just liquidity of them. Not worrying so much about the earnings reports, things like that. All right, so to get started here, a few things that we go through. So take a look at the overnight markets on multiple markets. Let's just see what's going on with NQ this morning. Q's up. I'm in a long position right now on the E-minis. Took a long position actually, and let me talk about how to read some of this. So I have different flavors of this seeker. So this seeker is fine-tuned here. This is an indicator I've developed. It's fine-tuned for the ES. But basically, as you can tell, you start getting the combination of these green lines. Obviously, it's indicating upward pressure and momentum from multiple locations. Pretty straightforward, quite frankly. Just look for the green lines, right? Or the red ones if you're going short. The more, the better. That's one. Then this other one down here, the angle. This one's fine-tuned for 1 minute on the ES. What it's doing is it's looking at multiple time frames, and it's capturing some of the behavior on multiple time frames. As you might be able to tell, the magenta one is a longer time frame, and the cayenne, the blue, light blue one, is a shorter time frame. That's the shortest. The middle one is the yellow. And what you typically want to watch for is you want to get any two of them on one side of the white line, right? So for example, right back over here at 4:30 this morning, I'm on Pacific time, 4:30 this morning right here where we had two crossover and we had some momentum behind it. Put the probabilities on the side of the long, all right? So you take the long up. So here we are. We've had several cases where we've had two on the side, one side of the line with some green lines. Take the trade, get a point or two on the ES, Well, now something's happening, which is on the bigger time frames. We're getting higher probabilities here. Just crossed the 0 line, and the market is in fact pushing up as we move towards the open. Okay, there she goes. She's pushing up. I'm just going to move my stops up here a bit, lock in some profit. I'm not after the big greedy move. Actually, I'm just take a series of base hits is more my trading style. Take the profits. Market open here in about 5 minutes. Okay, everybody, market opens here in 30 seconds. I'm in a long position and on the ES. I also have put a stop on my SPY. Well, I already had a stop. I moved my stops, is what I meant to say. And let's see. I have, I'm long at the moment on the SPY. And I'm long on the ES at the moment. And there you go. Just got hit on my stop there at the open, which is good. I pulled it up tight. Okay, market open. It's up overnight. Not up a lot, but certainly in the last couple hours it's got pretty bullish, I might say. Okay, pretty slow start here this morning on the ES. Let's go check my stops on the SPY. I pulled those up a little tight. I saw some indication of some momentum slowing down a bit on the SPY. Still in the position. All right. Okay, so the key is obviously to put probabilities on your side. So when you're in a upward trend like this right here, as it's coming up, as obviously the probabilities say, hey, you know, it's going long. However, there's a point where you reach some exhaustion, looking to see some of a rollover. The dings you might be hearing are some of my signals that are telling me of what's happening underneath. Some of the key activities taking place in the market. So there's two things to think about. One is obviously, hey, where do I think it's going? But the other is where do I think it's failing? And so those dings that you're hearing it's making noises as though it wants to go up, but the real question is will price action follow that? So that's actually where you have to know if it fails. So those sounds are saying, hey, I'm trying to go up, but if it fails, then it's a good indication of a rollover. Certainly, market's sleeping right now. It's consolidating, making a decision on which direction to go. Not necessarily a strong start, right? So the system I'm trading here is pretty straightforward. It's a system that basically says what are the highest probabilities and which direction are they? And then it says, tell me when momentum kicks in the direction of those probabilities. And that's it. So pretty simple. So these two indicators right here, these little green and red lines, just going to see them. I have them sized down a little bit. Stretch them up here a little bit. So in this particular case right here, where there's green, there's some upward momentum. You see right now, it's actually starting to build a reddish, bearish momentum is what's trying to happen. It's pushing for it. We'll see if it will happen. Meanwhile, the other indicator here says probabilities are to the upside, but you can see on the shorter term time frames that's starting to drop quickly. And one thing you watch for is in this type of situation where you still have lots of upward movement pressure on the larger time frames. When it breaks down on something like this, there comes a point where it falls too much. And then that's your opportunity to take a trade going the other direction. That would just be a scalp though. All right, market's definitely starting to pull off here. Probably will rest here for a moment. The market will probably rest at the 84.5, 84.75 area for just a moment. Should we see that's happened? Breaks through that. Then there's an opportunity for taking a long actually coming up here. I'll point that out to you. So it'd be a bit of a contrarian trade in the short term, but for the longer term time frames, it would be in line with those. So far this morning, I've done was it three trades on the ES. They've been in my favor at this point. Spread this out here a little bit, a little easier to see. Okay, so it came right down to right here and kissed that. If you look across, you'll see there's been some turning points along that price. So some buyers were sitting there. They took advantage of that. Comes another spot down here. So I've got several moving averages on here. Some really long-term ones. That's what these magenta and this cayenne. These are just super long-term. Let me see where the longer-term players are looking. And then there's the obvious shorter-term ones, like this orange one's the 200 moving average. So no special sauce there. And then a 34 and a 55, which is the red and the white right here. All right, so it's coming back off. Amount of volume has increased, obviously, to the downside. All right, so we've got our shortest term line here started to appear below, which is obviously a bearish thing. But again, the trade is where you got two on one side, right? So you can see scalpers are picking it up, right? As it comes off, there's still the upward probability, even though we're getting the downward momentum. So those that are trading on the longer term views take advantage of that. Then there's the shorter terms that are taking this momentum trade, pushing it down. So I'm waiting for it to come back into this range here. The blue is Cayenne. So the NQs, how are the NQs doing? The NASDAQ actually is pulled off a little. Not as much though. Very helpful to understand what related markets are doing. There's some pressure to the upside on the related markets. Pressure on the upside to the related markets. See if that holds. Okay, so more pressure, short-term pressure here pushing to the downside. That's what all these little red lines are on my seeker. And then in terms of the overall probabilities and the angle, still to the upside but weakening. NQs are not weakening. ES is trying to fall off here a little bit. Feel free when you're in live to talk with me on the YouTube chat. NQs continue to push up. ES is mixed. They're going to snap together at some point. Multiple key markets to watch in terms of their relationships, who's performing well, who's not. See if we can get a trade opportunity coming up here. Got a little pause in the action here. Okay, here comes a break down, showing some weakness. Okay, in the longer term time frame, we still have some probabilities pushing up, but we got a shorter term pullback here. It's looking to maybe, who knows, come back to the 82, 64 area, 65 area, down to the 200. I watch in multiple time frames, so certainly the 5 and the 15 minutes as well, and others. Okay, I'm looking for a turn back up of the blue or the yellow. Opportunity to get in line with the magenta here. See if the market will give that opportunity to us. Okay, now we're getting some movement breaking down into this 200 area. So the opportunity here is, given the upward pressure still on the top side with this short-term pullback, look for an opportunity to take that back. Okay. Nice little drop there. Ticks on that. Okay, it's breaking up outside of this little short-term downward channel. See if we get a pop back up to these moving averages. Let's see if it gives that to us. So now we've got two. We have two on the bearish side. So actually, we'll be looking for those trades to the bearish side. We'll be looking for. So that changes. So this will pull back up. We can rise all the way back up to these moving averages. That'll be our opportunity to take a short. May not get up there, we'll see. Keeping an eye on that. May not come up and give us that opportunity. Hoping it does. What we wanted it to do is we obviously want price to get up in a place where it's a, you know, the probabilities are on our side, right? Oh, so the market breaks back down. All right, comes back off. Touches the top of this channel here at 83. Let's see if it can get a little momentum back up into that area. I'd like to get it up a little bit higher so I could sell back into it. 3 trades so far. So far, all of them in my favor. Let's see here. Looking for a better trade position is what I'm looking for. Probabilities moving towards the downside at the moment, at least short term, while we have some long term upward movement or pressure or probability. But short term, got a little pullback. Okay, it looks like it may not give that to us. All right. Still resting on the top of that channel. Yen Q's definitely dropped on this. Let's see if it continues its downward run. Looking for a little bit of a pullback here. Okay, we got the blue here leveling out a little bit. Let's see if that run is over. The longer term probabilities have stayed to the upside. Looking forward to coming right back up and touch these moving averages. See that happen. There's a line of stops right there at the 83.5 area. You can tell every time it gets right up to there, it's just pushed right back down. It's this line right here. This is a long-term moving average, and it is acting like a lot of resistance to getting up on the other side. See if it's able to break it. If it does, then potentially a series of stops will fire, and that'll help drive the market back up into an area where we can take a shorting opportunity, at least for the short term. Market's making another attempt. This is about its third attempt to get back up into that area, into the 84. Sitting at see, that's quite the wall of resistance it's holding at the 84 area. Okay, it popped up there. So I took a I took a scalp off of this line right here, 2782. Took a scalp off of that. The reasoning behind it, the logic behind it is this is a very large moving average, and all the shorter term moving averages are over there. So the probabilities during this time when I took the short, excuse me, the long, when I took the long, was that it was halfway through the channel here. It was on the other side of the 200, while the shorter term time frames over there. So I was trading towards that direction. So I took that as the opportunity for the trade. In the meantime, it's come up and hit the, so that's 4 trades now. All have gone in my favor at this point. Okay. All right, that's what we're gonna go through today. Thanks for joining, and be sure to reach out to me with any questions, and we'll be trading live again soon. Thanks everybody, bye.